Karina. I've just been chatting for about 4 minutes there. You just, I think you saw me doing that and just thought, I'll leave him, I'll let him suffer. I'll let him talk to himself for another moment. Okay, so good morning all. Okay. Right, market has just opened. We got a little quick of a spike up. So sorry about that. Now you got me. Okay. So yeah, not a great deal of volume overnight. I've got two different scenarios. I was looking at the possible spike and channel. I was looking at that, to be honest with you, maybe a couple of legs up. But it's a bit different. We got a break new low on the main chart. So we'll see how we get on today anyway. I took one trade on just one of my accounts later on yesterday, but it's been quite a slow week for me, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. I've been chatting to a couple of other traders. They haven't had a huge amount either. So let's have a little look here. So I found that indicator that I was looking for. It's in NinjaTrader actually. Daily highs, daily lows, and open previous day's highs and lows. It's useful to have that actually. I can see it on here as well. When we're getting close up, I don't need to think about what's where. So channel break new low, two legs down, never got a high low there anyway. We did on this chart, but as I say, I wasn't sure whether there was a spike in channel on this thing. I was expecting it to come down. Sean, what's it called? It's called, I'll show you. I think it's just, yeah, current day overnight highs, lows. So it's just in here. I was just having a flick through YouTube, looking for indicators for NinjaTrader, and yeah, somebody said it was in here, so that worked out okay, really. There was something missing when I reloaded my charts, but I like to be aware of where the open is because sometimes that can, sometimes it can create a bounce there. And it, just a quick glance, you can see tops and bottoms of the day and previous highs and lows as well. Lows being down here. So, yeah, it's a free. So this looks like... is this just ranging? It's hard to say really. So what I'm going to do just for the fun of it is just let's draw our overnight highs and overnight lows in our range, which we've got really anyway. We don't really need a range, I suppose, but it does tell me really just a quick glance of it. Things look like they're going sideways at the moment. So there may be a channel like that with a little bit of an overshoot. So we have got some news coming up in around about 25 minutes, which we just keep an eye on. So that does look like a nice little channel. And then we have a quick push up, tick above this here, this bearish bar. I wonder now whether we do move down and retest the lows. I'd say. Trouble is when that's all you've got overnight, you've not got much to go on. I have decided to put the 10,000 tick chart down here. I don't need all this space. All this is for really is just for the signal bar. The context has got to be the same. In fact, it's the same chart that is. So let me just. Oh, that's strange. Okie dokie. Let me just check. Okay, perhaps they are just a bit alike. Let me have a look. Okay, they are slightly different. What I like to do is have at least 1,500 ticks between the two. We more or less have there. Sorry, 500 ticks. Sorry. Someone suggested me. Okay, so channel there, maybe a bit of an overshoot. Sometimes when we get an overshoot, we reverse. Sometimes we have a correction. Sometimes it'll pull back, new high and reverse. There's a bunch of stuff. So. So, excuse me. As I say, sometimes it pulls back, pushes up, makes a new high, and it's made a little double top. So I'm just going to put that there. Now, if we get a triple test here, I may decide to think about a lower high there or something like that. Trouble is, with what's happened, really, it's near damn impossible to figure out the direction. I mean, obviously here at the moment it's slowly going up, isn't it? But when you start to do this, you don't know whether we're going to push up or push down. So it's a little bit of a no-go area for me. Yeah, I did come back yesterday later on in the evening. I just traded one of my charts, actually, just one of my Apex PA accounts. And I took one trade, one contract, one trade for 3 points. So I wasn't really in the mood to trade them all, to be honest with you. I was chatting mostly with somebody, so I wasn't super focusing. So I thought I'll just trade the one. I did. I'm pretty sure I checked.
Order submitted.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Order cancelled.
So looking on the left chart, there is kind of a higher low there, but because we're hitting some support along there, I wouldn't take that. There's no room to the highs anyway there. It doesn't mean it won't continue up, but trouble is if you do nothing, it just continues on up. The second you decide to get in there, it will trigger you, start to pull back. It's just as uncanny how it works. Now, is there a bigger channel up here? There could be. It doesn't look terrible. So let's have the best of both worlds. So there may be an overshoot, a pullback, and a new high, or it may be the wider channel. I'm a bit not sure at the moment. Yeah, it's frustrating it when you see that big bullish bar, and look, there we go, straight up. You'd have got 2.5 points already. So it does look like it's testing the highs. That's if it gets up there, of course. So I think it's safe to say now it's touching up here as well. So I'm quite happy that that's a larger channel now. Now, well, I say that you could always do that, in which case we've got to break in a new high, and now this is reversing from the top. So actually, that looks better to me. So I'm going to go with that. Russell, good morning to you, my friend. Ben, how you doing, buddy? Have you noticed how price updates faster when you are holding an order with your mouse? Always. I don't know, mate. I've not really noticed. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I do notice. It's another reason why I don't like trading the NQ. I trade the NQ when I take evaluations, and a lot of times when prices moved enough, I grab the green order and drop it over the price. It should cancel it, but sometimes it doesn't, and then price moves. So I think sometimes the NQ price moves quicker than your bars move. That's one thing I've noticed. I was going to mention it, but drag a line round in a circle. Drag a line. You on about something like this? You on about something like that? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. Am I not getting something or what? Oh, you're on about the price, the countdown. Surely. I don't think that's weird, that, isn't it? All I think it is, I think it jumps in bigger increments, but when you do that, the increments are broken down slower. Yeah. It's not necessarily, that's freaky weird, that, isn't it? I see what you mean. If you do nothing, it slows down. It does jump down. It jumps from 9 to 7 to 4 to 3, whereas that, it drops down the increments. How weird is that? The increments are smaller. Yeah, I mean, the only important thing is we know when it ends, really, doesn't it? But how weird is that? That's strange, isn't it? That's going to give me nightmares, Alice. How weird is that? That's odd, isn't it? That's strange. I can't see no reason why it would do that, but it seems to do it. Odd, isn't it? How odd is that? There's probably some strange, weird reason for it. Reduce when you. I know it's weird. Perhaps there's some things we're not supposed to know, eh? How weird is that? See, I got two scenarios here. I got that with a break and a new high, and I got the bigger channel. In which case, this may push up. The trouble is, what I hate doing is if it turns very close to the highs, I'm not that confident going along into them, expecting it to break. Because what I'm expecting that to do is to break this high, and that's the trouble. So, yeah, weird one. Weird, isn't it? Trouble is, if that's a bigger channel, ordinarily what we'd be doing is looking for longs to break the highs. But as we've been so high, makes me nervous going long into them. Does look like it's pushing up though. Trouble is, we've got a break here. We could have 2 attempts to push up and then down. The trouble is, when you've got this much price action, you've got very little to go on, really. It's like trying to find your way around without a map, or a map with a load of holes in it. I'll have a better word. What I can see, though, if I look on Bookmap, there is some strong orders up here at 90, so there's not much down here. So this, to me, looks like it's been slowly dragged up. Now, obviously, that's pending aggressive buyers and sellers. If all of a sudden, when we get up here to around about this level, aggressive sellers come in, it may not get up there, but it does look like it's been slowly drawn upwards. So there you go. But we've got there is technically a second entry long there, but I think that's a bit early just to take that. You never know, because if it is a break and a new high and we're reacting to the tops, you don't know whether it's going to trigger that and come down for a second leg. So too many ifs and buts at the moment. Does look like it's pushing up to test the tops. Whether it'll get up there is another matter. Yeah, Dan's got this as well. You could sort of count that as the highs, that as a breakout that failed because we bounced off it here. So you may argue that this is more of a range high than that is. So we've got a channel with a break, 2 attempts to push higher and then down. So I think it would be likely to break that anyway. That would be a given, I think. How much further it will go, it's hard to say. Yeah, there's still orders at 87 and 90. So I'd still expect this to push a bit higher. Okay, so that's cleared a few stops there. That's picked up some of them orders. 87, there is some at 90, which is up here. So be interesting to see what happens if it hits that level. So it's broken above the overnight highs. And we're into new all-time highs once again. Every day we're sort of breaking new all-time highs. So trouble is we've had this push up and a couple of legs back. You never know. I wouldn't be shocked if this thing took off again. Something like that. A couple of legs back, retesting this area, and off it went again. I wouldn't be surprised. Markets seem to be strong at the moment. But that would not shock me at all. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Certainly a possibility. I've gone from that one to the next swing. Okay, so we've got some news coming up in 5 minutes. So that's certainly a possibility. There is a lower high here. I wouldn't take that, as I say, just in case this thing does decide to take off, because there's always a possibility that there's something larger there. So, well, it's probably be a bit clearer on here. So if you took a, what's it there, thinking about going short, there's always a possibility that there may be something. Something like that. That's just guesswork, but it'd be a reason for me not to just jump into a short all of a sudden here, because price does seem to be giving it, to me, it's looking like it's slowly working up. Now, whether it does or whether it doesn't, it's too early to tell, but It's certainly a possibility anyway. Yeah, I believe so, mate. I saw something on the news last night. I think it's mainly north of us and heading your way, I think, isn't it? Yeah, isn't it come from the US, isn't it, or something? We can blame them Americans sending us their weather. Yeah, we'll probably just get a windy day down here. Remind me where you are again. Where are you? You Lancashire or Yorkshire somewhere? I can't remember now. No, you're. Where are you? Oh, northeast. Yeah, I didn't read that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, you are close to Scotland, aren't you? What are you, south of Edinburgh? Not Edinburgh. Edinburgh. That's that sort of area, aren't you? Uh, yeah, you're quite high up, aren't you? Okay, news in 2 minutes. See, looking at this, the 10,000 tick chart, that wouldn't be terrible. Kind of like 2 legs down. So, how far is this thing going to come down before it could potentially push up? I'm looking at that bar there, which is basically here. So maybe a few more points. Be interesting to see then if it does. So if I put that back, that takes us into that ballpark, doesn't it? Along the bottom here. So where I've connected that to, pretty sure. That type of scenario. Hmm. Yeah, I've got some family up that way, a little bit further south. I think we got some family at Grimsby, and up right north in Scotland as well, actually. Okay, so news is coming up in about 15 seconds. So if you are in a trade, now's the time to panic. Okay, you can see book maps just gone black. Loads of trades have been ditched. There we go. Quick spike down. That's interesting, the way that's dropped below there and trying to hold. Very interesting, that. We just earmark this. As long as it holds here, it's still a bit too risky, I think, to go along there. Mind you, you could say we've got a channel here with a break, but I do like the fact that it's held on top of that line, which is interesting. I certainly wouldn't fully trust it, but it's ironic how I had that line there and here on the 10,000 tick chart, and it shot below and pulled back up, like it's almost respecting it. That's not pure luck, surely. We can see there's support there anyway, and obviously with the possibility of the bottom of a bigger channel up there. Now, when I say possibility, I do mean just a possibility. We've got kind of range tops here, so yeah, unlikely at the moment, I think. mind you, I suppose, looking at this 10,000 tick chart, we could just get a break here. Could be 2 legs back, which more or less is a range. So probably expect to get down this area. So if we did get a second entry short, I don't think it'd be a terrible idea chasing these lows. So quite a strong move down, broke these lows. Now it's going a little bit sideways. You probably expect traders to be taking profits around this sort of area anyway, so we may get a couple of legs up and a possibility of a second leg down. Hmm. Slow again, isn't it? I say it is boring lately. Yesterday, just slow, choppy. Tell you what, I wish I had taken that one there. 2 legs back. see there's some support along that midline. Now, you could argue that we haven't had a break here. That's a break there. I certainly wouldn't take that. I'd certainly have it'd be a lower high. See, this chart, you could say we've had a break in a new extreme, so you've got to be a bit careful. This, if you go from the top 3 bars, we're still technically haven't made a break. So, but I wouldn't take this just on the face value. It would have to be a lower high, really. Just in case, there's always a possibility that this thing may just find support here and start to push up. So it would have to be a lower high, really. That's certainly encouraging. Why is my rhythmic just shut down? That's kind of why I left it at the moment. How far did it go? So if you went a tick below, you'd have got 2.5, well, maybe 2.25. Yeah, Dan didn't take it. I just, that's the trouble. That could be working. Technically, depending on how you're looking at that, could argue we've already had a break in a new extreme. So you've got to be a bit careful, which is why I decided to leave it. So yeah, if you look at Dan's chart as well, he had that. So you just got to be a bit careful. And the fact that it's come back like that is telling me there wasn't enough shorts confident enough to sell that. So he's got a break there. My answer was we may still be in there, but on this chart we've had a clear break and a new low. So you've got to be a bit careful, which is why I decided to leave it. Now, if you took it and you got something, fair enough. But I think you'd have got about 2.25 points out. That wouldn't have worked for me and I'd have been stopped out. So it was a good decision to leave it. Now, if we have 2 legs followed by a higher low down here, that probably would be a different story. Yeah, so Taylor took it. Unfortunately, he had his entry down. He had his stop, his profit down here, so he may not have got that. It's hard to say, but a couple took it. Yeah, Thomas Way didn't take it. I think you had to wait there. He's got a little channel. That's the trouble. It's easy to see a channel there. And it's hard to say that he's got it in there like I have on this channel, but on my second channel. So, yeah, he left it. Dan left it. I think it was the right decision to leave it. It's so easy. Now, it depends how much you go for, really. It could have turned. It may not have gone down that far, but it wouldn't have worked for me, so it was a good decision. But if I look on this chart, we've got a clear break and a new low. Well, or have we? We have really. If you look at that, there's a small break and a new low. So you've got to be a bit careful there. So, you know, you may be trapping some shorts here and pushing up. It hasn't pushed up very strong for me. So there's still a possibility it may come down. We just may get two legs. Now we've had a break from that. We may get a triple test here and it may still come down. There's no reason why it wouldn't test this area, but it has. Clearly see support across there where it's respected that. But a leg down, two legs up. I wouldn't be surprised if that came down for a second leg. That would take us down to around about the open. So that would be something like that. And obviously depending on where it goes, but you're kind of around there. But it may just push up. That's the trouble. You never truly know. But I wouldn't expect it to go. I'd expect it to start to turn now if it was going to, but it doesn't look like it's going to. But if we can get a really bearish bar here, then I'll be thinking about taking a lower high, and then I would be considering a second leg down. But we got a doji now, so but we've got a nice measured leg there, slightly. Yeah, we have. So there's always a possibility it'll come down, but I prefer those a little bit further apart so you can't get confused with a channel. There may be a channel, so I much prefer these kind of apart that way, looking like two separate legs. So if we push down here, get below what we would consider the bottom of a channel, a lower high, I would be interested in. Straight Lines Tattoo, how you doing, mate? I don't like that doji for a start, so I'm not doing anything just at the moment. It would have to push down and get a lower high. See if there is a channel. I wouldn't expect it to have two legs and break straight away if it was a channel up. So if we push below there, then we may come down. I don't think it's a channel. It may be. I think it's just wide enough. But what you don't want to do is get into a trade here and it trigger and push up. So at the moment, I don't know what I'm doing. I can see we've had a channel, we've had a move down with two pushes up and a measured leg, but you just don't know. Now that kind of more looked like a reversal type bar. That's tempting, that is. But because we had a doji here after the measured move, I'm just going to sit tight here. You can see right the way along there, we've got some resistance. There. I think it probably will work, but it's just not for me at the moment. Not only that, if it is a channel, you're going long right into the channel tops. And I wouldn't want to go long into this if it is a channel. It's too high for me. If that's a channel, this is really where you want to be going low, but you just never know. It may just push straight at the top. Who knows? But I wouldn't want to go long there. It would have to be down here somewhere. So Now that's pushed above that. I would probably say probably more look at that now. At least it's moving anyway, and it's not spending a lot of time congested. If you look at yesterday, it's just congested everywhere. At least now it's quite moving quite fluently, which is interesting. ATRs, I tend to like it around about 2.5. Makes me a lot more comfortable going for 3 points. But it's moving quite nice, so you catch the direction. We may get something today. Be nice too. It's been a quiet week for me. Am I full-time trading? I am, mate, yes. How you doing anyway? You're 0-2 for the week, unfortunately. Must wait took one of the same losers as me. Yeah, what I do like about him is he does show his losses, doesn't he? I think that says a lot about a trader. It shows a strong trader that they don't feel that they've got to kind of hide it. A lot of traders do. They feel like they've got to kind of hide their losses. I kind of like, that's one of the things that why I started watching him, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, 4 odd years ago, because he showed his losses. I think it's important to show your losses. It's the one thing just Mac does not do. Now, I don't doubt he doesn't take many. How's it been for you full time? Ups and downs. I'm okay. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to have some affiliate, so that gave me a sort of a part-time wage, and it enabled me to kind of focus, you know, full time. But I'm not far away from a half decent payout now in the next few weeks, so that'll bump my chart up, so to speak, a little bit. But it gets better every year, and as long as it's doing that, I'm all right with that. But I will say there's nothing like working for yourself as a trader 3-4 hours a day. I consider myself more semi-retired than part-time, to be honest with you. I feel cheeky saying that I work. Can't even deny it. Thomas Way is very good. Yeah, he is. He's a nice guy, actually. I've been chatting to him just a little bit now and again. I've had a couple of little messages here and there with him. He messaged me a few weeks ago and said, would I put something on my chart for him and want to be an affiliate? And I said, absolutely. In fact, I said, I'm quite happy just to put something on my chart. I don't want any money out of it. I don't want any affiliates out of it. I'm quite happy. You know, I think we should look after each other. He's a nice guy. What is going on with... Okay. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I think I got, you know, yeah, he's a solid trader, and you can see he's slowly worked up. If you look over the last few years and you look at his contract size, I think he's up to 9 now. He's earned his way up, hasn't he? But I believe he's into the prop space. I mean, if you're already an established trader, the prop space is a big earner. You know, it's a great place to top up your you know, on your extra account. If you can earn money, you might as well just grab hold of them. Yeah, absolutely. So what he tends to go for somewhere around about the 2 to 3 points. Normally 10, 10 to 12 ticks, which is kind of where I am, really. I like the 12 ticks. Sometimes I'm a bit of a coward and I get out a bit early, but I think over time that'll start to, could be a possible second entry short at you. How do I feel about this? It's hard to say, really. It's not giving us any concrete pattern. There's a possibility this could come down. We've got to move down. We've pulled back around about 50% of it. So how confident would I feel going long here? I'm not so sure. What I'm thinking is there's probably going to be some bears trapped there and probably there. So if we had a second entry long, I don't think it would be a terrible trade. And what you could say is we got a little bit, oh, it's starting to move now anyway. We got a little bit of that. You may consider it as a failed breakout, but we had a doji, which is kind of just no good. There is a second entry on here, but this bar ain't finished yet. We're nearly at the tops. We're out of space. But it does look like there's maybe some bears trap. Mind you, look at that. Some bears trapped there and there. But all of a sudden now, look at that. Starts to move, gets close to the top and turns. It adjusts ATR below 2 and uses 60 ATR. Yeah. 10. Yeah, I kind of like, I think really, for me personally, 2 points is a good starting place. I don't see the point of doing one. In all fairness, unless you're a really good trader, you're going to get crucified going for a point. And it's heartbreaking. Now, this is really interesting. That has dropped quite quickly. Now, all of a sudden, we're getting quite a bullish bar. That bearish bar hasn't triggered. I'd have much preferred that. You've just got to be a bit careful here. I think there's a good chance this thing is going to go up. And it may already be doing that now, but unfortunately, there's just nowhere to go, is there? It's just too congested to go long here. It just wouldn't make sense. My gut feeling before that bar's finished, we're probably going to be above all these possible stops anyway. So what I do like is the fact that we got a nice solid bar off there. But I've been trading for be about 5 years next month. I started November 5 years ago. But it's been a really hard... I mean, look at that. Unfortunately, it's a clear indication where prices is going, but you can't take that. One, you're nearly at the top. Two, you're supposed to be out before the ice. There's nothing you can do, really, unfortunately. But I got to say, it's been a really, really hard ride. It's when I say, when they use the phrase blood, sweat and tears, I really have had all three. I've had tears. I've had blood from bloody knuckles from punching a monitor, thrown out the window, and to sat here sweating with your heart beating like crazy because you're about to blow another load of accounts. It's a hard business to learn, but once you get past to a certain level and you start to be able to relax a bit and you start to realize that you're good enough to make money, but you've just got to take your time, it's a really nice feeling. You feel like you've kind of earned your stripes, but boy, do you have to earn them. Nothing comes free in this business. I started... So I made, last year I made about $26,000. Now, I obviously had some expenses. Fortunately, they were covered by my affiliates. This year so far, I'm up to about 33,000. Fingers crossed the next month, I'll be looking at about another 19,000. Look at that thing take off. So really, it changed for me the end of last year. I made money consistently January, February, March, April, May and June. I had a bunch of accounts and I made money off them every month. And it was going great. I had a little hiccup. A couple of things happened at home. I had a couple of losses. I got spooked. And I ended up moving my stop just for a second. And then it came against me. And I moved it again and it came against me. And I ended up losing about 12 accounts. So then it takes you about 2.5 months to build them all back up till you can get back to your payment level. So, but when you make these mistakes, you realize I felt like I was overdue for a blowout. I felt like I was struggling a bit. But I think you learn to handle them much better. You know, you learn to realize that you can do it, but you have to allow the time for it to grow organically. My biggest problem is I was always rushing to try and grow too big. And if I'd have just waited and grown it organically, I'd have been earning a lot more money now. But because my attitude was take a risk, go big or go home, it just did not work. And it just, it took a while for things to get through my thick skull that if I'm going to make this work, I just have to do it the right way. And when you start to do it the right way, it takes a bit longer, but it works. But some people learn quick. I'm a bit pig-headed, and I wanted to do it my way. So, but you do eventually learn. It just probably took me a little bit longer than maybe some others. Not because I wasn't capable, it's because I kept trying to take risks on new accounts and try and get them up to payment level just too quick. Trouble is with a prop firm compared to your normal account. Now, I would never advocate using your own money in your own account until you can trade. But the difference is if somebody gave you, say, $10,000 to put into an account, you've got money and you can make money. Whereas when you go with a prop firm, you start on zero. So you've got to make money to start earning it. And when you start on zero, for me, I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Maybe I can take a risk. It's the wrong idea, but that's how I looked at it, and that's why it took me a lot longer. You find your job got in the way. Well, I was a bricklayer when I started trading. So I used to trade. Fortunately, the good thing about the markets is markets work 23 hours, so there's always a chart to trade somewhere. So they can always fit in with your job. But at the time, I was working from about 7:30 in the morning till about 4 in the afternoon. I would come home, I would have my dinner, and I would trade for about 3 hours. I got to a point where I thought I'm making a bit out of affiliates, so I can go from a full-time job to a part-time job. So I started working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I started driving HGVs because I had a license. There's plenty of work. There's always a shortage and the money's pretty good. So I could trade 4 days then. And it just kind of eventually went to just working Saturdays and Sundays. And when I was earning enough then, I ended up just giving up completely. But to give up your normal job was the best feeling ever. It really was. I love the fact that I didn't have to go out in a rat race and get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or when I was driving HGVs, a lot of the times I'd be driving 15 miles to work and I'd be getting there and starting for 4 in the morning. It's just horrible. Losers sweep those under the rug. Never happened. Never happened. Not sure what you mean there, mate. You might have to reiterate that one. But yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling not to have to go out and work with everybody else. So, I've got a huge amount of friends, but I've got about 3 or 4 good close friends. And they're out at all hours and they're jealous as hell at the fact that I'm home all day. It's great. It's a great feeling, I've got to say. So yeah, it's a nice feeling when you don't have to go out and work along with everyone else, because I don't consider myself working. This is more, I don't know, it's more like a semi-retirement, I suppose. But I realised that it was something I wanted to do. I saw the possibilities, and I just decided to go for it. And I just got my head down and just. The thing is with me, if something interests me, I just go overboard. I just go OTT, over the top, and I kind of lived, slept, and breathed trading, and it kind of wears you out a little bit. So I wouldn't suggest it the way I did it, but But the benefits and potential from being a trader, I mean, just think about it like this. During COVID, you carry on trading. You're at home. You're in the safest place. You don't have to worry about being sacked. You don't have to worry about being made redundant. How many jobs or businesses can you just decide to take a month off and come back tomorrow when the market's all there? There's no businesses that you could decide to take a month off because you'd lose customers. So there's so many benefits from being a trader. That freedom, with especially if you've got kids, you can be at home with your kids and, you can go to all the school meetings and all this. There's no worrying about taking time off and asking for your bosses, to have time off for this or to have time off for that. There's none of that. So I just love the freedom. I really do. If I don't want to trade, I don't trade. I can just go out for a day, get me fishing rod and go and sit by the river. It's nice to have that freedom. I find sometimes when you can do what you want, you probably tend to work a bit harder, actually. I rarely take time off, but I do love the feeling of not having to get up in the mornings at stupid o'clock and go and work my ass off, to sort of support someone else's dream. I love that. It's hard to know what's going on here. So possible overshoot, but then we've pushed up again. Sometimes we will. Sometimes we'll have an overshoot. We'll come back, push up, and then reverse. I mean, lately the market's been really strong, so I wouldn't be shocked if this thing took off for the rest of the day. In all honesty. Up until I made some money. So one thing I will always say, I know, a lot of streamers will encourage you to get as many as you can as you want because the affiliates. In my opinion, I only ever had one evaluation at a time and one PA at a time up until I first made the first bit of money and then I started to scale. Now, I wouldn't do that. I think you're better off having one account until you can make some money on it a couple of times and then maybe go to 2 or 3. But you've really got to be careful how much you spend in this business because you can go through money like you wouldn't believe. You can soon go through it. So you've got to be really careful. My journey would have been a lot less painful if it wouldn't have cost me as much money. So if you're newish and you move on to a prop firm, only ever have one evaluation and buy the cheapest one you possibly can and use it, not to try and pass it, because the tendency is to try and rush it and you think, yeah, I've got a PA account. But then all you'll do is pay a bunch more money and blow your PA account. So just use your first evaluation just to give you a little taste of having some skin in the game and do it slowly. But be under no illusions. It's going to take you a few years of trading, really, 3, 4, 5 years to really start to make some money. Some may be a bit quicker, some may be a bit longer, but it's not quick. But look at it like this. You're not going to be able to make this sort of money doing any other job. That much I can assure you. So I've got a cousin who lives up Grimsby way, was a teacher. And he went to university. He went to, he did his A-levels, went to university for 3 years, and he was a teacher, earning about 29,000 a year. He ended up giving it up in the end. So, you can spend a lot of years at university. And for people like Ben who know how the UK works, a university degree in the UK will cost you around about £10,000 per month. So if you're at university for 3 years, that's going to cost you at least £30,000. That's not including books, paperwork. I shouldn't do that. Books, paperwork, and none of that. So you're paying for an education, and that's exactly what you're doing with trading. If it costs you £30,000 over 3, 4, 5 years, you're buying an education. So don't look upon it as you're throwing money away or wasting it. So education, unfortunately, isn't free. Certainly, if you're probably in Scotland, it is, but in the UK, it certainly isn't. It's expensive. Is this thing going to take off now? I wouldn't be surprised. It's hard to tell at the moment. But you've got to be sensible. I wasn't. I went at it stupidly. For me, it was a case of the more money I throw at it, the quicker it'll happen. It doesn't. It works the opposite direction. 10 grand a year on tuition, 5, 10. Absolutely, yeah. And that's assuming you can get into the university you want. So education's expensive. So trading for me, I never went to university. When I left school, I went to college and I was a chef for about 10, 12 years. But I never had that experience of going to university and working for a really solid career. But that's what trading feels like to me. It's kind of like what I would have wanted to do, work on an education and get a really solid foundation and earn a nice living and have a nice life. That's kind of what feel like I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Closer to 46. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's expensive, but you are paying for an education, which is exactly the same as a trader. For sure. I don't know what's going on here. Somewhere along those lines, anyway. Trouble is, we're constantly into all-time highs, so you can't really look left and go some support up here. We've got to keep an eye on this. When we're up here, you just never quite know whether things going to continue on up or decide to start in the opposite direction. But while it's going up, all we can wait for it to do is a pullback and see if we can get an entry. But I mean, it was $10,000 a year about 7 or 8 years ago. So yeah, who knows what it is now or what you could potentially pay. But as you say, you've got to try and find accommodation, and you obviously, if you're living with your parents, it's a bit easy. But when you've got to find your own accommodation and then feed yourself, not that students tend to have a great diet, but and then you got books, material, and all the other bits and pieces that come along with it. You study, you study stuff. The good thing of being a trader is you can, especially if you're young and you're still at home, your costs will be relatively minimal. Your living expenses will anyway. But just don't try and rush and don't spend a lot of money on evaluations. It's so easy to just risk them and blow them, and it just gets you into a bad habit. And I so did it. So if you ever learn anything from me, listen to me about that. Just be so careful how much you spend, because you can get through a lot of money. See, what I did is I tend to put mine on a credit card and pay at the end of the month. Now, one thing you can't do in the UK is gamble on a bookies or something like that on a credit card. But affiliates, you're more or less gambling in a lot of cases, and I felt like that. And you can put that on a credit card, so it's very easy to get in debt as well. So just keep that in mind. Only use what you've got. Don't go getting into debt, because you can really get yourself into some trouble. I bet, I think I watched a video about Cami Capital, a young lad from New Zealand. I've chatted to him just a few times, and he was quite a bit in debt. Up to a point, I think he was something like 60 grand in debt while he was learning to trade. So you got to be so careful. So just be sensible and think about it. These cheap evaluations can be quite detrimental. They're good in a way because it's cheap, but the cheaper something is, the less value you hold of it, and the more chance you got of risking it and throwing it away. Do I know many? Yeah, I know full-time traders, yeah. I know Thomas Wade is. I know Dan is. I know Marco is. A few other lads I chat to on the Facebook group are as well. In fact, they had a poll on the Facebook group maybe 8-10 months ago. How long did it take you to become consistently profitable? And it was an overwhelming 4 to 6 years, which I'd say that's about right. There are going to be people who can do it a bit quicker. But, you know, I tend to think that if you're the type of person that can jump out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a 5-mile run, come back, have a green smoothie, have a shower, if you're a focused person like that, you're really in control, then I think you probably do it a bit quicker. But if you're a bit lazy, if you cut corners, you're going to find it a bit trickier. I'm super focused on something I want to do. But, you know, I've definitely been a risk taker when it comes to learning to trade. I've just thought if it's not, you know, if it comes back towards me, move me stop. And you get away with it now and again, but you're never going to make money like that. So it took me a long time to kind of stop doing that. I'm going to put that there, I think, just for now. This is going up quite tight. There may be something bigger, but at the moment, that's as good as I got. There is a possibility that we may have something like that. If we have 2 legs down and bounce here, but at the moment I'm just more just thinking a little bit smaller. The lads I spoke to, no, I think Marco's in Europe somewhere. I think Daniel's in the US. Thomas Wade. I think Thomas Wade's, I think he's Eastern European somewhere. But I do know a few traders from around the UK. There's probably loads of them. There's bound to be. But obviously, I tend to only connect really with mostly patch traders. So, you know, you kind of stay within your circles. You're up north. I'm in Shropshire in the UK. Which is about, if you're looking at the UK, it's about 50 miles west of Birmingham. So Shropshire I am. Marco's German living. Malta, that was it, yeah. I talk to Marco a lot, you know, a couple of times a week at least. And same with Dan as well. I chat to traders all the time, really. You know, you get messages here and there and you chat to people. And I like it. I like it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Thomas is Czech Republic, isn't he? Something like that, yeah. But I've chatted to him a little bit recently. He messaged me the other day, actually. Thomas Wade. But the thing I like about trading is how you do has no effect on somebody else. You know, it's not like we're in business and we're fighting for business. And I think it's good to support other traders, chat with them, help them out. You know, there's always someone more experienced. I turn to people more experienced than me for advice, and I get people less experienced than me asking for me. But there's a kind of a whole cycle in this business. There's always someone that you can turn to that knows more than you. And I like that. I've had loads of help from people. You know, I've had sleepless nights where I just, there's stuff on my mind and I can't seem to settle. But the beauty about knowing a lot of people in the US, when I'm struggling to get to sleep at night, they're awake, you know, 5 to 8 hours early, so you can always get an answer. So looking for maybe a second leg down here. This does look like it's pushing up anyway. We're into all new highs. So as I say, with this move up and a couple of tests here, I wouldn't be shocked whether this thing took a big turn for a big turn upwards again all day. Just having a quick look at Bookmap, I can see orders up here to the 800s, which is up here. So if we can get a couple of legs back here, there's certainly, you know, traders up here willing to get in. Any trader meetups in the north? I know a guy, the Scruffy Trader. He's from the northeast. He's from Newcastle way, and I know he has meetups. In fact, they go on holiday. Actually, they go abroad. Just that's what we got max chart at the moment. So more or less what I've got, with the exception of this bigger move. So he's got that, but then you've got a break, which is why I decided something else. But pretty much looking at the same exact thing, really. Any difference is he's got that, but prices. There's the break there. Prices continued up a bit steeper, so whether there's something like that, but we're more or less looking at the same thing. So, and I tend to flick between these two as well, between Thomas's and Dan's as well. I like to see, because Thomas and Dan trade slightly different. Dan tends to keep things tighter. Thomas opens up trades quicker. Opens up channels quicker. So there's a slight difference in variation, which I kind of like. It gives you a bit of a mixed bag, so to speak. So if we continued with this, how would this look? It's a bit too early, I think. So I would suggest it's probably something like that. You got to be careful going along here, see, because we're having 3 touches on here, so you never quite know whether this thing's going to decide to do that, but it is pushing up nonetheless. So possibly 2 legs. This does look like a channel to me. So I'm just going to get an order ready.
Order submitted.
Just in case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that there as well, just in case there is something wider. So we got no news to be concerned with. So, leg and a leg. Nothing we can do here, unfortunately. You know, we could come back and test this area here. And that may, well, it's a little bit higher, may get us into something slightly bigger. It's a bit too early to kind of, that's why it's easy to mark a chart at the end of the day, because you know where it went, but when you don't know where it's going to go next, makes things a little bit trickier. So there's just nothing you can do here at the moment. You really need to drop below there, really. I actually kind of like that. Nine ticks. Trouble is, there's not much to the highs. It is 2 legs back. You got a nice bull bar there. That surprised me, actually. I thought that might start to move. But I'm just not super
Order
sure
cancelled.
what channel I'm looking at here. It has pushed up. I'm going to have a go at this.
Order submitted.
Got a little double bottom there, but I'm just going to go for 2 points, I think. I really like to be out before the tops. It's a nice solid bar. I think we got 2 legs back. There's bound to be some short stops there. We're not far off here now, so as long as we don't get a triple test. Oh, I didn't like that much.
Order filled.
Okay, I'm out there for a point. I just didn't like the way that shot back. It's probably going to push up, but I am out anyway. So I got a point out of it, did I? Why is this still showing us?
Order filled.
Oh, let me just disconnect and reconnect. Does that a lot on Apex for some odd reason. Okay, so I lost a tick there somewhere. So this is what I got anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just under 500 there. I lost a tick. Yeah, I'm glad I got out there because it's finding some support there. But 1, 2, there's 500, 600, 700. So I got about $700 there. So it's not the best payday, but it's all right for a day, really. Consider I ended up getting out a bit early. I like to be out before the tops, really, but I was a tick above there. But I do like it. It is 2 legs back. It's probably going to work. But when it hits that top and jerks quickly, it always makes me nervous. So let's see who else took it. I know Taylor took it. That's his type of trade. Now, it may continue up. It probably will. But when we get that flick down like that, that makes me a bit nervous. So Taylor's in it anyway. That's for certain. I don't know who else. Who else took it on Dan's? Is this Thomas's? This is Thomas. So this is on Dan's chart as well. He's saying, yeah, I'm assuming he took it as well. It's probably going to work. When we hit it 3 times like that and pull back quickly, that always makes me nervous. But that's okay. I don't mind. Something's all right. So what did I get there? 375475. So I got a point out of it. So class that as a second entry long, more or less. Just 2 legs back anyway, but that's all right with me. If you put that there, that would probably look a little better. That actually doesn't look too bad. Trouble is, I'm always a little nervous when I don't know exactly what I'm looking at here. I mean, this is going to break above here now. I'm without a doubt, I'd say. And it would have worked, but sometimes I don't know. When you get that little, all of a sudden, there was some sellers there which pulled that back, or whether it was profit taken, I don't know. Always makes me a bit nervous, and I thought, do I get out and guarantee myself a point? Or do I risk losing 3? What was the size of the bar? So a tick above, tick below is 2.5 point loss. So I can either guarantee a point or lose 2.5. The difference is 3.5 points. But when it just finds that support for a 3rd time, and then again, it just makes me a bit nervous. We're finding it again, see, so you never quite know. I've messed around with this channel quite a bit here. So that's looking worrisome, see, so I'm glad I got out of that. I think that's quite solid. I like where it is. Usually, if it's a strong position on that EMA, and that is, a lot of the times it will hold. But you never quite know. Things can change. We got a measured leg there, that leg up there with a pullback and a second leg up. So it's clearly finding it difficult to get through there. Do I think it'll get through? I think so. But it may not. Look at that. So that'll be a strong position, I think. So it may hold. It is 2 legs back. It is a strong bull bar. And it's come back and touched that and then pushed up. So it may hold. Very extended on the 15, yeah. I do think it'll push up. That's encouraging, but you just never know. The harder it is to get through, sooner or later, it may just decide to go in the opposite direction. So I'm up a bit anyway. So what did I get? So say 500 on them, 6, 7. So I'm up $700 overall on my accounts for half of a trade. Well, not even half. Ordinarily, I go for 3 points. But I'm super glad I got out, actually, and I think I got away with that. Holding for I didn't want to hold for 3 points. It's too much, but that would be a triple test. That would be tempting. Is it going to break below there? I'm still glad I got out. I would not want to sit through there. I think it'll be. Let's have a look. I think it's going to, because there's bound to be some stops below there, bound to be traders. Yeah, it did see. So I made the right decision getting out there. Now, what was available? So a tick above. So you'd have got a point and a half. You'd have to push through. Now I go for, if I'd have waited for the 3 points, I'd have ended up losing that trade. So the fact that it hit the top and pulled back instantly, I got out there. So I'm happy to do that. At least I guaranteed myself something. But yeah, if you held there for the tops, you ended up losing there. So sometimes, especially when you're finding it for a third time and again there and there, that might be a good reason to get out. I didn't expect that. But I'm wondering now whether there is something a little wider. Let me just clear these up a bit. That's what I mean. You never quite know how far this goes. So now, if you look at that, touch, 1, 2, 3 times, that doesn't look that bad. In which case, we may play off the midline, or it could come back down this way like it did there. So it's hard to say. You may trade that as a failed breakout, but would I want to go long into a possible tops? I'm not so sure, really. I can't necessarily find a channel that I'm really comfortable with. I say that one's a certain possibility. Sorry, mate, I didn't see that there. How did you sell affiliates? You don't really sell them. All I do is, if you look at my chart on the bottom, see how Apex is up now, 8% off. All you do is you contact Apex, ask them for to be an affiliate. They'll supply you with a code, and if someone uses your code, you get, I think is it 10%? I can't remember now. I've been doing it for 2.5 years. I think you get about 10%. It's not a huge amount, but it helps you. I think I've tended to average about $1,000 a month, more at some point, but probably average over, the months. No, actually, it's about £1,000, maybe about $1,200-1,300. I think I've averaged. I know some people like what's his name, the ginger-haired guy. He actually showed some of his fillets. He was making over $20,000 per day on some of them. Now, I only have an affiliate code because it doesn't cost you guys anything more. Apex will pay you for it. So it doesn't cost you guys anything more. And in all honesty, you can use anyone's code. But, I don't charge anything. I don't have any, I know like Wilson, he charges you to watch him to trade, and I know people like Joe, they charge you to be part of a forum. I don't do any of that because I'm just like you guys, just trying to get by and trying to learn to be better. So I don't think, unless you're a seasoned trader that's been trading consistently for 20 odd years, I don't think you should be charging people personally. But the affiliates there, it doesn't cost you guys anything, so that's why I have it. But if anyone can get one, if there's a couple of you and you want to use each other's fillets and make yourself save yourself a few quid, you can do. Those guys win or lose trades in the Discord. Those guys win or lose trades in the Discord. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. What did Taylor say? Yeah, Taylor got out. Let's have a look. He got in on a limit order a bit early there. So what did he get there? I think did he a couple of a couple of points, I think. So I think he got a couple of points there. Did Dan take it? I'm not sure. I think he probably did. Depending on where did he get in here and get it? I'm not sure, but I think a few took it. I mean, it was clearly 2 legs down and a bullish bar. I was surprised it didn't push up. You know, that's why Mac will always say, make sure you've got enough room to get up to the highs. Well, that got up to match the highs. So if you'd got your order there, it wouldn't break through. So where actually did I get in? So I got in about a tick above there. So that's where I got in. So, and I put it to 2 points. Yeah, so I had it a tick above there and it didn't work. It wouldn't have worked. I would have missed it by a tick. Now, what I like to do normally is to have it a tick below the highs, in which case that would have done. And I'd have got a 1.5 there. Now, as it happens, I got a point. But as soon as it hit that line and pulled back quickly, that makes me nervous, and rightly so, because it did it a few more times before dropping. So if I'd have held for even my 2 points or even 3, I'd have lost that trade. So when it's finding more and more resistance up here, sooner or later one side's going to give. I thought that would hold because I did like that bar, but unfortunately it didn't. It went the other way. So it's about kind of making a decision when it starts to do this. I mean, fortunately, you had plenty of opportunities there to at least put it there for break even. So at least you're not risking it. A lot of times it let this pull back and start to slowly work down and it doesn't get back up to break even. And that's the pain in the arse sometimes. Now, depending on what you've got here, we've got a channel with a break and a new low. This may push up or it could continue down in a bigger channel. I got no idea now. That it does look like it's working up, but you never know when it's going to pull back in the opposite direction. So there was a major measured move hit. What's the tick? I wouldn't go long. Yeah, I'm not doing anything at the moment. I'm just kind of waiting to see if we get down here and what it does along here. But yeah, I mean, we're into all-time highs anyway at the moment, aren't we? So you never quite know how far this thing is going to go. It may just keep rocketing up, or it could take a severe dump, couldn't it? You never quite know. I do look for Bookmap for guidance. I can see there's orders up at 800, which you'd kind of expect, nice big round number. But there are a lot of buy orders down here at around about the 86, 87 mark, which, funnily enough, is where you kind of expect. If this is going up, where would you want to get into a trade? You'd want to get into a trade around about here. So if I put that there, so those orders there are between 86 and 88. So 86, 88. So let's call it 87 right in the middle. So if this continues to go sideways, this is where traders you'd expect to be thinking about buying for a second push. So if this is a channel, we've gone up to the top, back to the bottom, up to the top. If it does come down here, you know, this is where traders are probably going to be thinking about buying. That's assuming this is right. And this thing is going to continue, which you ultimately, you never know. So, but just what I can see, I like to have a picture. At the moment, there's not a huge amount of sellers up there. At the moment, I think the stronger ones really are the buyers, which the way the market's looking at the moment, and that area, this is kind of where you can see which would make sense. Sent you in Thomas Way's Discord if you want to have a look. I see. You know what? I'm not super knowledgeable with Discord, and I just happened to click on a page once, and I'd had about 15 messages. People must have think I'm super ignorant. Oh, that one. Yeah. What chart is that? This is not the same as mine, is it? Or is it? Oh, from Wednesday. I see what you mean. Got you. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of very similar, isn't it? Went up to the top and turned, didn't it? I think Mac will probably mark it. It certainly went for his point, I think. Well, assuming you never quite know he's got his channel, because obviously his channel will develop over the day and we just usually see the end result. You've just got to kind of do the best you can, haven't you? And hopefully you're right. So yeah, we got a channel with a break and a new low. So really, there's not much you can do here. Really, you just got to sit and wait and figure out what it wants to do. I don't know when it's going to continue up. My guess is it may be testing these highs here, which is kind of where I've put that line and where those orders are. So there's obviously passive orders sat there around about, I think really 87, 88. So around about there, 87 to, what do we say? Yeah, so around about here. So we may get over here, I don't know, but I suppose support here, previous highs, previous resistance become support. So, you know, if this thing maybe finds an area here, then you kind of would be thinking, if you wanted to go along in this market, this is probably, when I say this, we could actually, it may be down as far as here. It doesn't necessarily need to get across sideways, but who knows? I'll be going for an hour 50. Okay, I'm just going to take a break for a few minutes. Just to make a quick cup of tea. And then I'll be back. So I got no orders left open, have I? Everything's as it is. Okay, I'll be a few minutes. Okay, I thought I'd treat myself. Thought I'd treat myself to a highly nutritious pot noodle and a large single malt. Right. What have I missed? Not a lot. Okay, channel break new low. So far, we're just going a little bit sideways here, I think. So there is a bit of support there, so we may get a test of this and then down to this area. So I'm still looking at orders down here. More at the 87, which is there. So there is buyers sat around this level. So we got channel break new low, 2 attempts to push higher. My guess is it's probably going to find its way down here, whether it goes sideways or not. But that's where I'd guess price is probably going to go. Could argue there's a second entry short here, but I don't really want to go short just at the moment because I'm not sure that it is going to come down here. We're clearly looking like we're moving up at the moment, but this is some kind of a correction or a pullback. So I'd say it's more likely to come down here, but I'm certainly not confident enough to trade it. Wow, quick drop down and then pull straight back up. As I say, my gut is telling me it's more likely going to work its way down here, but maybe we get 1, 2, 3. Maybe we get trigger above here, a triple test, and we get a leg down, triple test, and then another leg down. You never know. In which case, I wouldn't mind having a go at that. Yes, there is a channel up here in a break, but we've made a couple of attempts. Let's see if we make another attempt here. There is a second entry short here, but I'm staying out of that. It's a little bit sideways there. It may get a bit trappy. I do think it's more likely to push down below this area, but at the moment I'm just sitting tight because I want a proper setup or something. I think there's enough of the lows anyway, really, there. So tick below, a couple of points to the lows. 2 points if you count a tick below. Just not interested at the moment. I'm just not super sure exactly where it's going to go. I think it's more likely to work down, but so we could get something like that. Yeah, so the reason why I never took that, it went down. So you'd have squeezed a point. I mean, it may still, but it went down about a point and a half. So you'd have got a point and a quarter out of that at a push. It would normally have to tick through. So where's this going now? Trouble is, it's going up, down, up. So you go up. What do traders do? They buy, crosses over, comes down, they sell, pushes up, they buy, comes down, they sell, and that's how it tends to work. I've traded it myself like that, panicking, thinking, oh, we're going up, let's go long. We're going short, we're going down, let's go short. And then it just tends to just do that. So there's just nothing you can do here, really. Just got to sit this out. It's clearly getting a little bit sideways. I think when we push down into a little trend like that, a little range, usually we'll pop out the opposite end, down, across and down, or vice versa. So my guess is if it can get down this, may touch that measured move and finish bullish close to this bottom here where I can see these buyers are, and maybe, leg down to this area. If it took off from here, then, this possible larger trend channel would kind of make sense. We had that big push up, we dropped, we had a couple of tests and then a retest, and then it sort of took off. But you're right at the tops here, right into new highs here. You really got to get a correction before this, traders are confident enough to start buying this thing back in. So makes perfect sense. What was originally resistance becomes support, and then the cycle starts all over again. So my guess is if price needs to get below this area here, and possibly even there, I like looking for areas of liquidity where I expect it to break below that little bit liquidity there. That measured move is just below that there. But that's the important stuff there. Once it breaks below there, it should then at least drop down to about 67, where we can still see buyers. 87, where we can still see a chunk of buyers there. There is traders a little bit lower at 84, which funnily enough is below there. It's around about there. It's certainly below there anyway. So that's kind of where you'd expect buyers. It's not as much sellers up here, really. You're thinking it's more of a buying market at the moment. So quick drop out the bottom. Let's see how we get on. Speedy, how you doing, my friend? See how everyone else is doing today. Alpine blew a load more accounts yesterday, didn't he? How's he doing today? Zero. How's Nutty doing? Good on you, mate. Okay. That's interesting. We pushed above and then immediately dropped below. So I still think we're going to get this second leg down. Okay, here comes that second leg. Okay, it's picking some of those orders up now. I'd like to see it get below there. That's tempting. We didn't quite get low enough for me, so if I want to wait for a higher low, I think. Unless we get a, well, yeah, high low. It has bounced off support, so that's something. See orders down here around about this area, see, so not quite at the bottom of what may be this channel, so it could come down just a fraction more, or it may not. It may pop up. Depends if we get aggressive buyers in there. Excuse me a sec. Sorry, bud. My mistake. No, I was just talking about the 2 legs back with Penguin. He doesn't have the following, the Penguin guy, that I think he deserves. I think he's a really knowledgeable guy, and he reads these charts like a palm reader reads a bloody crystal ball, or a palm. That doesn't actually make sense. Like a palm reader reads a crystal ball. I don't know. I forgot I said anything. But yeah, I mean, we've got to move up. We clearly got 2 legs back, but you need really, in my opinion, there to have a little clue where prices go. And we get a bullish bar, we get a high low. There's a good indication that's pushing up. So from a Penguin's point of view, I'm surprised he doesn't have a massive following. I really am. Because when he talks about those charts, he's really clever, I think. So there you go. That's my little analogy. But there are orders up here, as I can see. And this looks like it's certainly on its way. We have broken highs again. So overnight highs were broken, daily highs and all-time highs once again. This thing is certainly not shy about going up, is it? You know, it just we go. We have a pullback, we go. So I'm just expecting this. And trouble is, like me, if you're expecting things, sometimes that can halt your progress. I do sometimes need to focus on what I'm seeing a little bit more than what I think is going to happen. Trouble is, if I think it's going to do this, sometimes it can put me off. But there you go. See, I was hoping that would come down a little more. So Taylor's just put his chart on. Now, if I make that touch there like Taylor's done, I got a bit sticking out here, and that doesn't kind of feel right to me. For some reason, his chart is quite different than mine. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah, it's just not come down as deep as I would have expected. That's why I don't mind doing that. I don't mind missing a little bit of it, actually. I think that's a bit too much, personally. I mean, you could. If you brung that down there, that wouldn't look too bad, but then you got that bit sticking out. I don't know which is worse. I don't know. Let's just go with how I had it. I think put it something like that and see if I can find something where it. I think it's a good indicator. We got a perfect touch, perfect touch, perfect touch. We got 3 nice touches there, so I don't mind giving a little there. But that's somewhere along the ballpark, isn't it? So we did come down to that measured move. What I can see with it, we're off by about a tick, and that was it. It took off. Took a bit of time. It takes a bit of time to go up, but when you look at it like this, it's a strong move up. You know, it's funny. Taylor's just posted that on the 5-minute chart. Look at that. Right, we'd expect it to, and then off it goes. So maybe it's not a bad idea having other charts, maybe just to give you a little bit of confirmation. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, we've had this move up. Yeah, you can see that, can't you? That's relatively clear. So we drop down with 2 nice legs, drop out the bottom, clear out any liquidity, and finish right at the top. Now, if you looked at that from this, from a Pat's point of view, you'd more likely take that, and then off it went. So I've never really paid much attention to these time charts to see how they work with Pat's, but judging by watching a few of Taylor's charts, he certainly feels like it's worth looking at. And judging by what I can see there, how nice does that look? Touch, 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 touch. Maybe it's worth having a quick browse from time to time, maybe half this, and have a look at that. If it can give you a little bit more confirmation, I don't think that's a bad thing. No, this has gone all out of whack. I mean, I'm not too worried about the bigger picture. I just use this for the more like the signal bar. Interesting. Mm. Okay, I expect some profit taking. There. Probably some a little bit earlier there, but so I wouldn't take a short here at the moment, even though we've got like a channel with a break. Lower height may get back to the midline or the EMA, but because we're so close to that 800, it may have a push up. Not only that, the overall day is generally up anyway, so for the most part, probably avoid shorts anyway. So that lower high is triggered, and now this looks like it's pushing up. So, another reason not to take a short. Oh, I hate it when it's slow. Speed up, god damn it. So if you took the lower high, you got Andy Giras on a plate. And if you took that bearish bar, you're about to. Trouble is, there's nothing you can do up here. We want it to come down here. So channel break, new high. And there's that bear bar stopped. So if I'd have taken the high low and held, I'd have been up nigh on 10 points. Why don't I do these things? That is a typical guerrilla style trade, that is. Move up, 2 legs down. He'd jump all over that and that again. What was that guy trade again? I haven't seen him since. He was from Israel, so I think when Israel went into those, he's actually from Tel Aviv as well, so whether that was anything to do with all this Hamas stuff, it's kind of when he tended to disappear, I think. Might have been a bit before that. Okay, so it got a tick off the 800s, which you'd expect. Some traders taking profits there, and then had a quick drop. What's so damn slow today? Hmm. What did I do to help my patients? To be honest with you, mate, I think what's helped my patients is just sitting here every day and realizing if you don't keep your patience, you just end up getting crucified. So I think it just, I've read so many times about, what to do with emotions and all this. People say you need to change your mindset, but no one really tells you how to do it. And one thing I've just come to the conclusion is there's no special measures to take to combat these things. They'll just go automatically. That the more you sit here and take crappy trades, the more you filter out the crappy trades, and you realise if you're patient, you wait for the good setups, you tend to stay intact a lot longer. So it just sort of comes by just sitting here every day, and you take a bad trade or you take an impulsive trade. After a few times of doing it, you start to realise if it doesn't work, you just generally avoid it. And so the simple fact is, and I've said it a million times, you just need to expose yourself to these, to this every day, to experience again and again what it feels like. And as your skill level, you're constantly learning, and sooner or later you filter out the crap and you get better, and patience become kind of part of it. Patience for me, when I started, was the one thing I thought I'd struggle with more than ever. But I could sit here for 3 days now without taking a trade, and I'll be okay with it. I want to take a trade, but I realise that, I have to just sit here and wait for something to come to me. I can't go out and chase it, because if you do that, you don't make money. Sometimes you'll get lucky. And sometimes I do leave trades like that go. I thought it was actually okay. I waited for the higher low. We had a higher low, but it was right at the EMA. Now, given that quite strong move off 2 legs down, I probably should have taken it, but because it was at the EMA, I left it. So I think I am probably a little bit overcautious at the moment, because I'm trying to build these accounts. But, I'm okay with that. I'd rather be overcautious than careless. But you do miss out on trades, and it does take me a bit longer. But, as I mentioned earlier, if I'd had, $10,000 or $20,000 in each account, I wouldn't have to worry about money, and I wouldn't have to, I could just focus on what I think's right and kind of forget the money. But money's always kind of an issue until you build it up a bit. So I'm okay with as it is. It's taken a little bit longer than normal, but I'm still, growing by over $1,000 a month. And that is kind of my minimum target. And I don't take a lot of trades, so I don't think it's that difficult to hit that and some. And if you times that by 20 accounts, you're going to earn more money in 2 months than you do in 12 months working in the UK. So, although I would prefer things to be a little bit swifter, I'm quite happy. But patience is just coming with time. But I had the worst patience when I started. You look back some of my older videos, I'd see price going up and I'd just jump in randomly because I didn't have the patience. Or I'd sit here for 2-3 hours, patting myself on the back and telling myself how pleased I am, only to go and take a stupid trade the last 2 minutes because I didn't want to not take a trade. So it comes eventually, but you've just got to. The more you filter out the crappy trades, the more patience just becomes part of it, really. But all these things will come, but they do take time, and there's no magic bullet. It's just exposure. That's kind of it. So we've got a channel break, new high. There's a triple test there. Now, some may take that. The only issue I have with that is this is how I use Bookmap to get myself to stay out of trade. See that big load of orders there at 800, which is there. I think if I go short with a bunch of other people, there could be traders pushing above that. One tick above there is a load of orders. We know price moves towards liquidity. So for me, it's risky taking that. Not only that, one price is up at the moment and you're going short. So I'm going to leave this because as we know, price moves towards liquidity. Now, obviously, aggressive buyers and sellers could change the dynamics there. But for me, I use Bookmap primarily to stay out of a trade where not to get into one. And I can see there's a big load of orders there. So my gut instinct is it's probably going to hit above there before it comes down. Although you can't argue it's a triple test, but price is up anyway. So generally, you're always going to get, even if you take crappy trades, you're always going to get more luck following the way the trend goes. And if you look on here, see this triple test here on the left side is already triggered and it's holding. So I don't know, maybe I'm just overcautious, but one, it didn't trigger, it has on there, but we're seeing those orders on Bookmap. Hey Bart, how you doing, my friend? The important thing is that Green Friday. Yeah, I'm okay today. I'm not up a huge amount, but I'm up $700 or something like that on those. So that's not terrible. It's been a quiet week for me. How you doing, buddy? How you getting on? What sort of week you had? Quiet, busy? I have flicked in from time to time and had a look. I usually have a look. See what you're getting on. Yeah, it's okay for a Friday, isn't it? As I say, yeah, as you say, always better to be green or zero on a Friday, I prefer. But I haven't had a red day for quite a long time. I haven't had a huge amount of green days, to be honest with you, but I haven't lost a trade for a while, so it's got to be a few weeks, I think. I've got out of a couple, but I've been super strict or super paranoid. I don't know which one's more right. But I'm not far off. If I can get another 6-7 trades, I should be able to withdraw around about $19,000. So that should give me a nice little boost to my yearly quota so far. So, but I'm just playing the game at the moment. I'm not trying to rush things. I'm just trying to let nature take its course, so to speak. Yeah. See, if you'd have taken this bearish bar now, look where that's going. Now, is it likely to hit that 800, or is it going to come down? I'd be concerned that it's more likely going to hit that 800 level, which oddly enough is one tick above that red signal bar. So you learn in the end, don't you, that the only way to do this is slow and steady. You have to. It does feel like you're going in slow motion, but if you think of all the times you tried to rush it and you lost accounts, you added all those up, you'd be a sight better off financially, wouldn't you? So it does take time to learn to do things slower. But when you finally do, things start to happen. And with the beauty of being able to have 20, 30 prop accounts, you don't need to earn a lot of money per day. You get $100 per day per account. With 20 accounts, you can earn significant amounts of money. So, and for me, it's not so much about how much I'm earning, it's how much I'm not wasting on evaluations and prop firms, because that can go into the thousands. I mean, if you look at Nutty, he's made a fair few quid, but he's spent about $50,000 on affiliates and PA accounts. So you can get through money on these affiliates and prop accounts like crazy. You really can. So it's not just about making money; it's about how much it's not costing you. So yeah, that's it, isn't it? But yeah, slow and steady wins the race every time. does take you a while to finally realise that, but there you go. In fact, I'm going to finish in a minute, actually. I've done 3 hours on stream and an hour before. So I've got one small trade. We had that little pullback there quickly, so I got out up here. Fortunately enough, I like to always get out before the tops, but my profit was a couple of ticks above, but I'm glad I just saw sense in there. Yeah, you too, buddy. In fact, I'm going to leave it there, actually. We're coming up 3 hours on stream, so I'm going to leave you guys to it. So I'll be back on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, and we'll catch up on Monday, and we'll do it all again. Bye for now.